the presentations there on the screen. First off, for those of you that aren't aware, the Stanislaus Regional Transit Authority is a consolidation of the county and Modesto. About a year and a half ago, the two entities joined forces and created the new authority to provide better transit services throughout the county. I wanted to recognize Chair Withrow as a member of the Board of Directors for the Stan RTA, and Supervisor Condit as well as a member of the Board of Directors. And in the audience, Mr. Morrow, another member of the Board of Directors, is here today. So I wanted to recognize them. One of the first projects that we were tasked to do is to rebrand the system to make it easier for folks to get around the county and to use the transit system. The brand you see there on the screen there, the dark blue, and the S is the new name of the system. We're making some great progress in the rebranding efforts, which is great. With some of the buses that you see there on the screen as well, about 30 of them are done today, with another 50 or so to go. So we're on track, and hope to have that done by the end of the year. And the next big project that we were doing is the route changes, looking at all the routes to find a way to make them run more efficiently to get people around better. And so we're dubbing this project the S Vision 2032, which is how we can restructure the routes now, but plan for the future as well for all the routes. With the main goals of this project to integrate the old START and MAX routes. START was the system operated by the county, MAX was the system operated by Modesto. So integrate those routes into new network, but also to get more people on the bus, to improve ridership on the bus. Also to make sure that there was an equitable distribution of routes in the urban and rural areas, and the low income and minority areas on the fixed routes. But then on the demand response side, making sure that we're serving those people that need to be served with that demand response system. A couple of the milestones that we've done to date. A lot of community outreach. We've done 22 different engagements, which I'll talk about here in a bit. We've done an online and onboard the bus survey to get more information from riders on what they want to see and where the routes could be improved. We've looked at alternatives to the routes, which I'm going to go over today as well. Then an existing conditions report, seeing how many people ride the bus today, with buses are on time, and other things that we can improve. And actually looked at cell phone data as well to find out where people are traveling from within the county, so we can better plan the routes. So some early community feedback that we've gotten is to improve the poorly timed routes, to make them on time more often, to serve more of the underserved areas, to develop a little transit hub in series, which I'll talk about more in a minute. Improve the days of operation and the frequency of operation as well, at bus stops and at bus stop shelters in different communities. Some of the things that we're going to introduce and planning to propose are to introduce Sunday service on all routes. Some of the routes do not have Sunday service today, and that's a big request that we've gotten from the riders. Improve service to 15-minute or 30-minute frequencies on all routes. Add some new routes and eliminate some non-performing routes, and have better connectivity with the transit system. And lastly, to pilot a new BART commuter service on the weekend. Right now we have BART commuter service on the weekdays, but we've got some requests to serve on the weekends as well. So some of the feedback and some of the some of the community outreach that we've done so far is some focus groups in our Spaghetti Bowl area, which is the West Modesto and Ceres area. Got some great information there. We've held briefings with local government staff and almost all the cities in the county. We presented different map meetings. We've held pop-up events at the transit center and at the mall here in Modesto. Other community outreach meetings and pop-ups and open houses, and then had a booth at the fair as well to get more people aware of the brand, but also to get more input on the routes. So now I'm just going to highlight a couple of the routes that we're looking to change. So first we're going to start in the Ceres area. So this is the map of the Modesto Ceres area as it exists today. And I'm going to zoom in here. This is the proposed map for the Ceres, South and West Modesto and Ceres area. One of the things that I like about this map, it's really streamline the route. So the area right now is very confusing to understand. Routes go in different directions and we call it the spaghetti bowl of routes. Here we're looking to streamline routes to make them go more in a straight line. They're easier to understand. They get people, most importantly, they get people from where they live to where they want to go. We found that a lot of folks in the West and South Modesto area are looking to go to stores and jobs in the Ceres area along the Hatch Road area, down to the CSA building off Hackett, down to the new Walmart in Ceres as well. So these new routes here they go on the same roads that the routes go on today, but they've been restructured so that it's easier to get around. We've got some great feedback on these new routes and hope to implement them. We're going to go through a few things here. So the Ceres Transit Hub that I talked about earlier, looking at near the Walmart there in Ceres, as you can see, most of the routes that go into that area all converge there now in that hub. And we've been working with the Ceres staff on a good location for that hub. But you can see there's 5 or 6 routes that all will converge in that area, coming from Houston, coming from Keys, coming from the west and south side of Modesto, and then down to Hatch Road as well. But don't forget that orange line that runs right through downtown Ceres. So that's one. Oh, there's the little arrows that are popping up there about the different routes. All right, so moving down to the east side, starting off on the 61. This route is a one-way loop. One-way loops don't work well for transit services. This one-way loop goes out through Empire, out to Watford, back to Houston, and back into Modesto. It's actually a route that I use. One-way loops don't work well as if you're in Empire and you want to get to Modesto, you're taking the long way around, right? That's an hour trip. Where really it could be just 15 minutes. And so we're looking to change this route to make 2 routes out of that one-way loop. So these 2 routes would be bi-directional service. So one route going from Modesto all the way out to Watford through Empire, with bi-directional service. So that if you're in Empire trying to get to Watford, or if you're in Empire trying to get to Modesto, you can go both directions and get to where you need to go. So we're proposing to operate that every hour to get folks in there, into Modesto and back. And then the orange line there, the route going into Houston with similar service. That line is a little bit wrong, as we got some feedback when we met with the Houston folks. Thought that we should serve the Walmart there. So as you see that route going up Whitmore, instead of going right down Mitchell, go left down Mitchell, down to serve the Walmart, and then shoot up the freeway straight to Modesto. So a little bit of a change with that route that we've just done in the last couple of weeks. So we haven't had a chance to update the map. But that's one area that we're looking to change to provide better service, bi-directional service for these parts of the community. Another route that we're looking to actually, this would be a new route, Route 24, a new route serving the Empire area going up Roselle up to Riverbank. This provides direct connectivity for Empire folks, but also for Modesto folks living on the east side of town to have the direct connection to the Riverbank shopping area. And then something that we learned as we proposed this route, even after we proposed this route from Riverbank City Council members, is that there are actually some high school students that live in Riverbank trying to get to Enoch's High School without bus service. And so they walk down to Roselle, and this bus service is going to fix that problem, which is great. But also provide some good connectivity for folks who live in Empire, who live to Johansson High School, and obviously other locations. All along this route, you have other routes that will intersect and take them to other parts of Modesto as well. This is just an overall map of what I'm talking about with the route 24, which is that blue line right there in the middle, and how it will connect with other routes in Modesto to get them to where they need to go. And lastly, we're going to talk about the west side of the county, the Patterson area. So there's a route right now that runs from Modesto to Patterson, which isn't going to change. It'll run through Grayson, Wesley area. We had originally proposed to eliminate the route that ran from Newman to Patterson, but have rethought that idea based on community feedback that we got from residents in Newman, that they would like to keep that route. Right now, there's three different services that serve the west side, and with such low ridership on those routes, we're like, okay, well, we need to pick one. So the fixed route is the one that is what most people wanted, along with the 80 paratransit service. So we're going to retain that route that runs from Newman through Cruz Landing up to Patterson, and we'll run that every hour. Right now, it runs every 2 hours or so, which isn't great transit service. So we're going to keep that route and run it every hour to entice more folks to use that route. In addition, there's a route that runs from Patterson to Turlock, which we'll keep as well, to provide that direct connection from Turlock to Patterson. That's all the routes I'm going to talk about. And just lastly here, the timeline for implementation. We've done most of the outreach now, and we're just getting the plans in place, making sure that all the timetables work, with the intent to go to the County Board of Directors in late September for approval of this plan, and then start the work to promote it and make sure that the public knows about these changes, with implementation probably first of the year, with a February launch. With that, there's a little bit of time still to get involved. You can still review all the proposed changes there on our website and submit comments there as well. And with that, that's all I have. I appreciate the time, and